Welcome back. So, in this video, we're gonna start the trial, and basically what I'm gonna be doing is going through and playing through a case that myself and drvonkitty have created in Ace Attorney Online. So I'm gonna tell you interesting little tidbits when I think of them. Without further ado, we'll begin. Palms sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. Okay, I admit it, I'm nervous. Something about mum spaghetti, but you missed that there, Athena. Oh god. Good to see you're confident. Don't worry, Athena. We got this. Ugh. Will you be up at the bench with me, Trucy? I will. I know it seems silly, but I wouldn't be much help. I just... Don't worry, Mr. Right. I'm fine. Did someone say I'm fine? Hello there. Do we, know you? That voice! Trucy. Right. Apollo Justice. There's no way. That's impossible. Come to support an old friend? Heh. I'm afraid not. No way! You can't be serious, Polly. You're a prosecutor? I promise you it's nothing personal, Trucy. I learned a lot from Mr. Right, including the fact that evidence is everything. You know that's not true, Apollo. You know what happened with Gavin. Don't you dare bring her name up in front of me again, Right. I'll never forgive myself for what happened to her. Polly, it wasn't your fault. Miss Sykes, was it? That's right, Athena Sykes. I'm Mr. Right's attorney. Athena, you're humiliating yourself. I have no grudge against you or Mr. Right, Miss Sykes. I became a prosecutor because I wanted to catch criminals, not innocents. Like some other prosecutors we won't mention. The evidence points to Mr. Right as the clear culprit. If that's not the case, then I invite you to prove it. That is what this is all about, after all. I will. Just because you lost faith in Mr. Right doesn't mean I have too. You're his new employee, huh? I don't hire lawyers, Apollo. Not anymore. Prefer to do your dirty work yourself these days, huh? Polly, how could you say that? This isn't who you are. I'm sorry, Trucy. But this is something I have to do. I miss you. Apollo? Good luck today, Miss Sykes. You're gonna need it. Luck? So, as far as I understand it, the initial premise for this case, thought up in the mind of drvonkitty, was not only that Verad is dead, but that Apollo is the prosecutor. That was sort of the main basis for this case. All the other stuff, the case logic and all that I came up with, for the most part, was an afterthought in comparison to the initial premise of the case. So, I was on the forum for the case competition, and he had announced on there that he needed partner, someone who was good with case logic. So I messaged him, and the rest was history. Anyway, we'll get back to Phoenix, who's being mysterious here. Mysterious look on his face. Mr. Wright? Are you okay? I'm fine. He's a good kid who lost his way. That's all. Discord in your voice tells me otherwise. You're up against one of the toughest possible opponents you could be, Athena. Apollo was the second best defense lawyer I'd ever met. He'll be a scary opponent. Don't expect him to make many rookie mistakes. Good luck. I'm sorry, Trucy. I don't even know what to say. I just don't understand. This isn't like Apollo at all. Maybe not. But his voice was seething with rage. Maybe we can get through to him, Trucy. I hope so. Me too. Because if I'm gonna save Mr. Wright, I've gotta beat him. I have to beat Apollo Justice. You've seen Apollo versus Phoenix. Well, now it's time for Apollo versus Athena. I hope you're all thoroughly and suitably excited for this. Anyway, courtroom number 2. Let's begin. Court is now in session for the trial of... Oh my. Is there a problem, Your Honor? I guess I just didn't review the case files I should have. You're going to be prosecuting your old mentor, Mr. Justice. That's right, Your Honor. That is my job as a prosecutor, no? I suppose so. Just gave me a bit of a surprise, that's all. But given that you're standing here as a prosecutor now, I guess I shouldn't get carried away. And who is that with Mr. Wright at the defense bench? I don't believe we've met. Athena Sykes, Your Honor. I'll be representing Mr. Wright today. I'm, new in town. I see. This is so strange. Being across the courtroom from him. We'll get through this, Trucy. As strange as this whole affair is, there's no sense in dilly-dallying. Or shilly-shallying. Court is now in session for the trial of Phoenix Wright. For the 4th time now. Are both sides ready to begin? The prosecution is ready as ever, Your Honor. And so is the defense! Alonzi! Good golly, Miss Sykes, save the shouting for later, please. My ears can't take much more of this. Sorry, Your Honor. I thought they liked it when you yell in an American court. Rookies will be rookies, I suppose. Mr. Justice, your opening statement. Certainly, Your Honor. The crime occurred at a local club named Club Poker, Hardly Know Her. One of my favorites in town. So the judge is a poker player, huh? Yes, Your Honor. It was last night around 8:30 p.m. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, was playing in a poker tournament. He had made it all the way to the final round. I see. And who is his opponent? He really hasn't looked at the case file at all, has he? It's pretty in character for him, honestly. It's in character for your judge to come to the trial unprepared? You don't know the half of it, Athena. Okay, we'll not get into this right now. Yep. It was an old friend of yours, Your Honor. The Chief Justice. Egad! I can't believe it.
The Chief Justice was a friend of mine. Oh, small world, isn't it? I can't believe I'm only just finding out about this.
Your Honor, if you have a personal connection to this case, then you may not be able to be unbiased. That may be a feature where you're from, Miss Sykes, but not here, in the good old US of A. You've got to be kidding me.
The prosecution is correct. Unless the victim is related to me by blood, I am not barred from judging by our country's laws.
What kind of country is this? As I was saying, the victim was the Chief Justice, Walter Van Cleef. He died during his poker game with the defendant.
What was his cause of death?
The victim had a heart attack, Your Honor. Hold on a dang minute. Hold on a dang minute. If the victim died of a heart attack, then why are we here at all? His cause of death was natural. My client shouldn't be on trial at all.
Miss Sykes, did you even bother to look at the case file?
Wait, what? I thought he didn't even read the stupid case file.
Perhaps you can explain this to the young rookie here, Mr. Justice. Explain for the rookie in the room.
Gladly, Your Honor. The defendant is charged with voluntary manslaughter. Remember, Athena? That's what Emma told us yesterday. Right. Voluntary manslaughter means that Mr. Wright did something to cause the death indirectly. I should ask about that. What did Mr. Wright do to cause the heart attack then? It is the prosecution's assertion that the defendant attacked the victim, causing him to fall, suffer blunt force trauma to the head, and have a heart attack. It did indeed cause him to fail at life. I have the autopsy report ready, Your Honor.
Admit it into evidence.
So what wrongdoing are you exactly alleging here? The detective will explain that shortly, Miss Sykes. First, I'd like to establish the circumstances of the crime. The homicide occurred in a private game room attached to the main lounge. 3 people were in the room: the defendant, the victim, and a witness we'll hear from later. You can see there was only one doorway entering the room. It was locked. As such, there are only 2 potential culprits, and the prosecution intends to prove that the defendant is the only viable one of those 2. The defense says that our client is fully innocent.
Shut the fuck up, you don't get an opening statement in these games.
And we intend to prove it.
For some reason, anyway. The defense's plea is duly noted. Mr. Justice, please proceed.
Firstly, Your Honor, the prosecution has 2 pieces of evidence to present. The first is a photograph of the crime scene. The second piece of evidence is a key used to lock the crime scene. Interesting. That's the key that Emma used to let us in the scene. Where was it found? The victim's person. Presumably they locked the door for privacy.
Accepted into evidence! Again! So much evidence. Oh, I love it.
That concludes the prosecution's opening statement. That was clean. That was an alley-oop. That was a 3-pointer. Mr. Wright wasn't lying. He's the real deal. He's the real deal.
Very well then. Let's hear from your first witness.
The prosecution calls Detective Emma Skye to the stand. Good morning, Detective. Really, Apollo? You're just gonna detective me like that? After all we've been through? Miss Skye. You're a load of work, Apollo, you know that? Sheesh. Hey, Trucy. Hi, Athena. Good morning, Emma. Nice to finally have someone on our side. We're stacking the deck this time round.
Try to refrain from showing a clear bias for the defense, Miss Guy.
Sure thing, Your Honor. Just wish I could get a little respect around here, that's all. She really doesn't like that Apollo was prosecuting Mr. Wright, huh? I mean, me either, so at least we're on the same wavelength there. I apologize, Miss Guy. Name and occupation, please. Emma Sky, homicide detective. I'm the lead detective on Apollo's staff. I'm kind of a big deal. That makes sense. You mentioned the restructuring of the force. Of the force. That must be when Apollo became a prosecutor. Don't let anyone do it these days, I hear. Please testify about the events that led to the victim's death. Consider it done. So we're at the first testimony, and now we're going to get into the sort of territory that I designed. As in, I made when I was making the outlines for this game, obviously I did a small outline of the investigation, but mostly that was drvonkitty. I basically just said we need to find this amount of evidence in some particular locations, etc. But the trials, the way I did it was just made a Google Doc, structured it in a way where it's basically giving instructions on how to make the cross-examinations. Obviously, creative liberties were taken more so in the sequel, A Web of Turnabouts, by drvonkitty when he was making the trials segments. You know, just to trim the layers, trim the fat, make it a more streamlined experience, you could say. And but the basic concept was I was just saying you're going to press on a particular statement that's to do with this. You're going to present some of the evidence on those particular statements, etc. That was my role in the whole thing in a nutshell. Anyway, we'll begin with the crime. Mr. Wright and the victim were playing a game of poker. After a disagreement, Mr. Wright went to attack him. He swung a nearby grape juice bottle at the victim, but he missed and smashed it. Trying to dodge, the victim fell and hit his head hard. He promptly entered cardiac arrest.
I see. A fairly straightforward case then.
Precisely, Your Honor. While the defendant did not strike the victim, his actions led to the victim's eventual death. That's why we've charged him with voluntary manslaughter.
That would seem to make sense.
So that's their theory. There's no clear holes, so we're going to press it for all the info I can get. The defense is ready to cross-examine, Your Honor.
Proceed when ready, Miss Sykes.
Good luck, Athena. Thanks, Trucy. We'll end it here for now, so I'll catch you next time.